everybody. I'm going to call to order today's Board of Commission meeting for. I will turn my microphone on so the world can hear. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to call to order the Board of Commission meeting for the Port of Bellingham. I'm going to close our executive session and resume the public meeting. This is our meeting for Tuesday, February 21st, 2023. There are multiple ways to participate. We live stream on YouTube. We have the meeting available on Zoom, and we have our lovely attendees here in person. I'll start with roll call. Commissioner Bell.
Present.
Commissioner Briscoe.
Present.
And Commissioner Shepard is also here. I am going to next read our advisory committee schedule, and then we'll move into public comment. We have a couple meetings coming up. The Marina Advisory Committee, or the MAC, will meet next on March 14th at 6 p.m. here in Harbor Center. That's an in-person meeting only. Our BIAC, or the Bellingham International Airport Advisory Committee, will meet April 13th at 4 p.m., and that is a Zoom-only meeting. Those are all of our meetings to report on. So next we'll move to our first public comment. We have a second public comment after a regular business. And I have Bert Weber signed up.
Thank you. My name is Bert Weber. I live in Cliffside Drive, 3935, and I'm here to talk about how we can get the lead out, which commissioners, I think, were familiar with. First, I want to thank the commissioners. I really appreciate that you take the time to listen to people. I know it's probably not your most favorite thing to do, but I do believe it's a really important part of the public outreach of the Port of Bellingham. And I want to thank the port and the airport for the upgrades that have occurred up in that area over the last year. Maybe you've noticed if you've gone up Marine Drive, the road is much better thanks to the county. They've expanded the Marine Drive all through there. And the port stood up and made major improvements to the park that is there, which is something for sure we all enjoy, but it's also a very popular park. It's almost always has somebody there looking at a sunset or people walking through. So thanks also for that. So I do want to take a moment, though, to explain this jacket. I've been feeling a little bit browbeaten in working with the airport. I've been branded by the airport manager or the airport person who's in charge, that I'm not a team player. And really, because of that, I should not have any voice. And I want to make it clear to all of you that if you've heard that, there's another side. This is a jacket given to me by Squalicum Harbor as Customer of the Year for the year 2000. A little ways ago, but it's one of my four favorite things, and it's a reflection of the work that I've done to bring both economic and educational opportunities to the port. I was the one that brought the Snow Goose, if you know that boat, to Bellingham, and I did so in part because I was interested in getting kids out on education, and in part because I had dreams of getting up to Southeast Alaska and couldn't afford it myself. So I figured what better thing to do than have a boat and take people up there. Both those programs have been successful. Sixth graders in Bellingham get to go out on the boat and see what Bellingham is like and learn a little bit about environmental quality. And to date, I can't remember when we started it, we've done over 30,000 kids from the city of Bellingham. We're into second generations now, and there's nothing that feels a lot better than to know that you've done something that has been successful, as we all know. So the city of the school district in Bellingham has adopted it as a program. All the sixth grade kids in the city of Bellingham get to go out on that boat. And I would suggest, too, that if you want to see how the actual Snow Goose Going to Alaska program is, I consider that as a major contribution to the economic development. Look at the website. It's really a fascinating website. It's one of the few programs that has persisted in the area. Most of the other small boats that used to call Bellingham home have gone somewhere else. So it's home for Bellingham, brings money to Bellingham, gives opportunity for a economic effort, and that's something else that I'm feeling good about. So what I'm really here about is, can we get the lead out? I came before you some months ago and talked about the problem of leaded gas, and there was a lot of humming and hawing, and oh yes, well, we can maybe look at it, or maybe we won't, and maybe we'll just wait for somebody else to solve the problem. And that still is the case. And what I'm asking is not necessarily to solve the problem of getting the lead out, but having the airport do what it can to prevent planes from flying over residential areas. We know that lead is a toxic at any kind of concentration, and just to have planes going willy-nilly over the residences is just not, in my mind, fair. The response of the airport is to say, well, we'll have a noise abatement procedure. And they're really, if you look on the webpage, they're quite impressive. Really good, well thought out visuals. There is one mistake, though, that I forgot, because I looked over just before I came over and saw there is an error. It talks about planes having to go out to the shoreline before making a change. And if you're familiar with marine things, you know the shoreline is the location at which water meets the land, and not any particular time. So if you were flying a plane out of Bellingham in a low tide, when it's a -2 foot tide, you have to go half a mile, 3/4 a mile from the shoreline before you get to the shore definition of the shoreline for marine people, at least. So that's a little change. I know in effort, most people know what it means, but it is if you are wanting to observe the noise abatement procedures, it's confusing. But fortunately still, not very many do. Commissioner Bell suggested when I last talked to you that I sort of back off and not be so vigorous in reporting. So I've done that. I don't do that very much anymore. But occasionally things happen that just seem out of the pall. Okay, here's an observation. When was it? On September 27th, 2022, Bellingham Aviation was doing what it does quite frequently, doing touch and goes. And it comes down, taking off to the south, making a good sharp turn, and then following the shoreline, which is actually a foreshore, all the way along. So I was out there one day on that date between, where is it, between 2:30 and 3:30 in the afternoon. There were 19 flights that went right by the edge of the bank, going from east to west. That just is crazy. There's 19 planes going over, spilling out, exhausted with lead in it, that is influencing all the lucky homes along the bank. Shouldn't happen. So what to do about it? Well, maybe get to come down on the companies that use the airport that are contributing to this. But the problem will still persist. And one of the things I asked for, but it got overlooked when we were talking the first time, is to have you as commissioners support and suggest to the Bellingham Airport that they sponsor a meeting between the FAA and the Bellingham, or the Cliffside community rather, to find out a way so that planes can take off and required to take off from the airport without flying over residences. And that's what I'm hoping that you'll make some action on today, that make a decision to get in charge. Okay, that's it. I think that's all I want to say, unless you want to ban lead immediately today, that I would be happy. But it's still a problem. it's there. And as I don't know, hopefully you got the letter that I sent you that said there's not an awful lot that's changed. Mr. Bell said, get out there and get us some numbers. And I was enthusiastic that Western, with some of the faculty, would do so. They're still enthusiastic. They haven't done so. So that getting numbers like that is off in the future. But you don't need that. The evidence is clear from the federal government and now our state government and every scientific thing that lead has no place in the environment. And things that cause lead should be controlled and banned. And that's the case we have here. We don't need it. That one of the things, it's going now that the state is having to deal with this issue, and there's a lot of guffawing going on about that. And I saw one thing that really made sense to me. That is saying, let's restrict lead to those planes that have to use it, that have no alternative. And when I look at Bellingham, that is San Juan Airlines. They're required by law to not use non-leaded gas. I don't know why, but that is the law. But the other 90% of the fleet, general aviation fleet, are already certified to use lead-free gas. All they have to do is register, get a little decal to put on their plane, and they can do that. All the manufacturers of the engines of those airplanes say non-leaded gas is just fine. Doesn't have quite the octane level, but it reminds me of how I felt when I was 16 or so and they were banning lead. Say, I'm not being able to go accelerate quite as fast as I used to. Well, get over it, guys. You can be safe. And so, thanks for listening to me and appreciate whatever you do.
Okay.
Question.
Yeah, go ahead, Commissioner Briscoe.
Bert,
Yeah.
for my question and thought purposes, from the end of the runway, where do you live? Are you to the northwest of it?
To the west.
To the northwest.
Yeah.
And you want the planes to go straight out, which would be to the east of you?
No, I want the planes to go straight out to the south. See,
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll call it the south. So that, which is east of you?
A little bit east, yeah.
Okay. The reason I ask that question is it seems like most people, not just yourself, but most people don't consider the predominant weather in the area when they're telling us that planes should go here, they should go there. Even if the planes go to the south, the predominant wind is southeast. And it's
Yes.
going to blow everything by the time that could even get to the ground. It's probably going to go blow it past your house to the other houses up the road a ways. But,
That's questionable, from what I understand.
well, you can question
it's
all you
there.
want, but when the wind blows, exhaust goes with it. Fire smoke
Right.
goes with it. We see
Oh,
it.
that's right. So the
I'm
planes
just
take
saying,
off.
I'm just saying.
South wind blows
that-
it up.
That you're probably not getting as much as you think throughout the winter and everything, but just as soon as we can do something about this as an agency, we're a little hang-tied because of the FFA. We do have a lot of rules to follow.
Okay,
And we explained that the last time you were here, and I understand that what you want to do is what you want to do. I get that. But we can't just do everything somebody wants to do. There's a lot
True.
of things, and I'm not about keeping leaded gas. If we can do it without it, fine.
Yeah,
I'm good.
and the
But
FAA
there's a lot of
has
steps to
approved
get
it.
there. Okay?
FAA approves the use of unleaded gas. It's okay with them.
Well,
The thing it's not okay with is the pilots. They don't like the idea of giving up something they
I
have.
want to fall out of the sky.
Well, there's no evidence that that's going to happen.
Well, that's easy to say. You're standing on the ground. But thank you. Thank you for your input.
Okay, thanks, Bobby. Okay, thanks, gentlemen. Appreciate the time.
Thank you very much. Do we have anyone else in the audience who would like to provide a public comment? No. Seeing none, check with our audience on Zoom. Do we have anybody on Zoom who would like to provide a public comment? Not hearing anyone on Zoom, we'll have another opportunity for public comment after our regular business. All right, Carrie, I think we'll move on to our consent agenda, please.
Motion to approve consent agenda items A through C.
All right, any questions or comments? Commissioner Briscoe?
No, I have none.
Commissioner Bell?
I do on C,
Go for it.
and I gave Brian a little heads up on this one. C is basically a proposal to do environmental audits. And I just want to know what priority or what system we use to prioritize who we're going to do the audits on. I didn't see it in the scope of work. Basically just said we're going to do 30, and we've got 125 properties. So how do we weight those 125 properties so that we do the most important ones first? That's really the question. If we're going to put a contract out there.
I see Adrian online. I think she's prepared to answer this one.
Hi, Adrian.
Hi, everybody. Sorry I can't be there in person today. My name's Adrienne Hedgedis. I'm the Sustainability Program Manager for the Port, and I also manage the ECAP, the Environmental Compliance Assessment Program that this PSA amendment is for. To answer your question, Commissioner, we do choose them based on their environmental risk, and there's a number of factors involved in that. We do tend to visit those high-risk tenants every 2 to 3 years. And other tenants out as far as 5 years. There's some tenants, obviously, I'm not really interested in people's staplers if that's all their risk is. It's not a good use of my time or theirs. But we do have this all written out in our SOPs as well. So if you're interested, I can definitely get you some more information on that. But there is, yes, a method to the choices.
And the ones that you visit every 3 years, they tend to have a higher risk.
Yeah, and those risks are, if they're right next to the water. So, for example, boatyards would be the activity type, the potential impact to stormwater, and the proximity to the shoreline is definitely a big consideration in that risk ranking that we do.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I would enjoy a copy of that list, Adrian, when you have time.
Sure.
Thank you.
I wouldn't necessarily enjoy it, but I'd certainly like one.
I would. I'd get a kick out of looking at it.
Unless there's
Just
are there
to
pictures?
clarify your question, sorry, do you want a list of the folks that we're visiting now, or do you want a copy of the standard operating procedures?
Just your ranking list on who are highest, or who the tenants are, how they rank on the list.
Okay.
I'm sure you have a permanent list that ranks them, correct?
We do. It's a little flexible over time. If we're visiting someone and we realize they have a lot of controls in place, they might come down a notch.
Okay.
It's constantly being looked at.
Okay. So the current one, I guess.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions or comments on the consent agenda?
Nope.
All right, Carrie,
Motion to approve consent agenda items A through C.
Commissioner Briscoe,
Yes.
Commissioner Bell,
Yes, thank you, Adrian.
Commissioner Shepherd's a yes as well, carries 3-0. All right, we'll move on to our first presentation. We've got Port of Bellingham EDA revolving loan program update and economic development project manager John Mitchner.
Thank you, Commissioners. John Mitchner, Economic Development Programs Manager, Port of Bellingham. Thanks for the opportunity to give a little update of the loan program. And we have a little extra today, too, which is, I'm so happy we're going to be able to look a little deeper into the program and the actual effects it has and what it does for our community in general. But to begin with, a brief overview, update on what the program is. It's federal. We always make that clear. These are federal dollars. These are not state dollars, so we can loan them to private businesses. Our authorized lending area is all of Whatcom County. And the EDA, so we administer this on behalf of the Economic Development Administration. Their primary goal for this is job creation and secondarily keeping the funds revolving out in our community and working. The target market are small manufacturing firms that may or may not be bankable by a commercial lender. So ideally, when we do one of these, a commercial lender might say they'll go in and buy a big piece of equipment, whatever, and then we can finance maybe the inventory that they'll need to the working capital, if you will, to take advantage of that new equipment. So it's a partnership which works really well. We can also often offer a lower rate or maybe a longer term, so the deal will cash flow for the borrower and the commercial bank involved. So we kind of are the piece, the missing link, if you will, that makes the whole deal go through, and off we go. The program started actually in 1987 when it was part of the Fourth Corner Economic Development Group, which was the Economic Development Council back in the day. And in April of 2012, then, when the Associate Development Organization, the ADO designation, was moved here to the port from the EDC. The designation moved to the port, the loan program moved to the port, and I moved to the port. So it was like a little threesome that came on down in April of 2012. We have two funds that we administer on behalf of the EDA. One I call the Legacy Fund, which started in 1987, and it originally had $500,000 in it. Over time and losses, it's now down around $319,000, but it is building back up again slowly. And a nice thing we were able to do with that fund a couple of years ago, I worked with the EDA. We defederalized that fund, which basically means we don't have to do the required reporting every year, and we have a little more leeway on the loans we can make and who we loan to, as long as we still abide by the federal laws of, if there's a public works aspect to it, we have to do, Davis-Bacon wages have to be paid. We cannot loan to any marijuana operations, that type of stuff. So we do have federal regulations that come into play. The second fund started in, I wrote a grant in the summer of 2020, and we got the COVID-19 fund, which came online, and that one has $346,000 in it to loan, and that one is actually all loaned out. We got those monies out the door. Since the program started, 36 loans have been made. $2.5 million has been loaned out. So the money's revolved about 8 times in and out through the program, which has been successful in that regard. Average loan is a little under $70,000 or so. So it's kind of a niche, again, filling that gap piece, which makes sense. Part of the lending program also, though, is we require equity participation from the borrower and a commercial bank to come in as well. So all told, $12.5 million has been leveraged in addition to the $2.5 million we've loaned out in the program. 243 jobs have been created, 23 saved, and those are jobs as the loans are being repaid where we track them and report those numbers. A lot of those are much higher now that they've been repaid. One example is the company Tidal Vision, who, when I started working with them, they had 5 employees. We did a loan with them. When the loan was paid off, they had 16 employees, and about a year and a half later now, last I heard, they're up close to 60 employees and growing. So it can be really successful when it happens. I underwrite the loans. I work with the clients, get the applications, make sure everything's in order. Then there is a loan committee that makes the decisions. I don't do that. The loan committee is made up of bankers, accountants, elected officials, workforce development representatives, Executive Director Fix and Commissioner Shepard both sit on the loan committee today. I take care of all the required annual reports and the biannual reports and all the EDA bureaucracy that goes on behind the scenes. And every 5 years, I have to update our lending plan to make sure we're in alignment with our SEDS that we have, because this is a direct response to that. That's why the original loan program came. So that's some good numbers. Rob?
Yeah, can I just jump in real quick? That loan committee has a couple bankers on it as well. I think that's important to note that we've got some professional bankers that sit and weigh in on these businesses' viability.
That's actually a great point, because we're not allowed to make a decision unless there's a banker in the room. That's part of the deal. Yeah.
Just for the people who don't speak an acronym, out in the public, just describe what SEDS is.
Community Economic Development Strategy that we put together. We actually wrote a new one that came out last year, and it identifies strengths and weaknesses of the community and areas we want to focus to help build the economy. And this loan program, that's why we primarily focus on small manufacturing firms, because those are creating the jobs that are family wage jobs, if you will. Exactly, Commissioner, yep. So beyond that, though, there's stories with each one of these loans. It's a family, it's a company, it's a business. Twin Brook Creamery, the people, the milk in the glass bottles. We work with partner agencies, and our piece of that deal was financing 45,000 glass bottles so they could go into business on their own, if you will. And they were saying they've been on the land since 1910, and that loan allowed them to continue farming the land and doing that. So with that in mind, I'd like to introduce Erin Graham. She is one of the co-owners of Aegis Mobile Electric, who we did a loan with a little over a year ago. And she said she would like to come in and a little more information about what happens when a loan is made and where it goes and how it does help the business, the owners, and the community in general. So with that, Erin.
Thank you, John. Thank you. Hello, commissioners and community members. I really, just on my heart, I have some prepared remarks, but I wanted to come here and just tell you how grateful we all are at Aegis Mobile Electric. I'm very happy to be here today on behalf of our company. About a year ago, you gave us a loan via the Port of Bellingham EDA Revolving Loan Fund. This loan fund symbolizes our community's commitment to increasing employment opportunities throughout the county. And we have been truly honored to have been chosen for this opportunity. I am here to thank you for the faith you have shown us in awarding us this loan. In granting us that financial support, you have enabled us to grow into a healthy, thriving, and rapidly expanding manufacturing business. The financial reports I've submitted over the past year have confirmed that. But even more important, the loan enabled us to hire several more Bellingham residents over the course of this year. What our spreadsheets and reports do not tell you, though, is the story of the people we have hired. We felt a strong calling to partner with the organizations in our community, the Agape Home and the Whatcom County Pregnancy Clinic, who are supporting women in the throes of difficult circumstances. These women are actively working on putting the pieces of their lives back together, and they need someone willing to take a chance on them. Aegis Mobile Electric is proud to step into that season of growth in their lives and help them with their next steps by providing them with a job, helping them develop their professional skills, and being an excellent reference for them if they choose to decide to look for employment elsewhere. Of course, we don't encourage that. We love these people. I would love to share just a little bit about some of their stories so that you can see beyond the employment reports to the amazing people that we've been able to employ thanks to the Revolving Loan Fund. Sasha moved to Bellingham from Houston a few years ago, and during COVID, she found herself living in the homeless camp on the library lawn. Vulnerable and cold, she eventually moved into the Agape Home, where she found a supportive environment. Since Sasha came to work with us, we have learned that she has a tremendous can-do attitude, an eye for detail, and an exceptional work ethic. She has learned several new skills, and she works steadily toward her goals. Sarah was also referred to us by the Agape Home. Her previous experience was working in the hotel industry, cleaning rooms, which is good, hard, purposeful work. However, there's not a lot of growth opportunity in that career path. Through the Agape Home, she has been in recovery and has grown to a point where she was looking to make some career changes, and that's when she came to us. She loves the work she does with us, especially the harnessing work we do. She lights up when she does it. Sarah also, she has 2 sons whom she adores. She is the kindest temperament, and her laughter as she's building alongside her colleagues is infectious. I wish you could hear it. Lexi has grown tremendously over the last year, and her story is one of courage and perseverance. Lexi grew up in the foster system until, like so many foster children, she aged out of the system. With no family to lean on and no real direction, she floundered for a few years. She became pregnant, and heartbreakingly, with no support system still, she lost her daughter to the foster system. Yet between the guidance she received at the Agape Home, the stability of a job with us, and her own sheer determination and grit, she won her daughter back a couple of months ago. I'm so proud of her. You should see the joy on her face when she speaks of getting her daughter back. We are all so happy for her, and I am really encouraged that the cycle of brokenness may be altered in her family forever. I am proud to call each one of these women, these brave women, and others like them, colleagues. Their courage in their very personal, unique, ongoing struggles is extraordinary. The Port of Bellingham decided to take a bit of a chance on our business, and we in turn use that blessing to take a chance on some women that other employers might be reluctant to give a second chance to. At Aegis Mobile Electric, we've had single pregnant mothers, women in recovery, women fleeing domestic violence situations, and women who recently got out of prison all come through our doors. And they have all been, without exception, Dynamite employees, model employees. At Aegis Mobile Electric, we believe each one of them and their very personal, unique stories matter, that they can grow and achieve their goals, and that they can be held to high professional standards. They see that they are part of building really cool products, if I may say so, that go out into the world and make a real difference in other people's lives. And they learn that everyone at Aegis Mobile Electric believes in them and is counting on them to be a good teammate. In every single instance, these women have risen to or exceeded expectations. I am so grateful to sit in my very privileged seat where I can witness their growth every day. So again, I want to say thank you, Port of Bellingham, for trusting Aegis Mobile Electric with these funds. You've done more than help a local manufacturing business. You've helped people in our community find purpose through meaningful work. You've made a real difference in the lives of everyone who works at Aegis Mobile Electric, and we are all very grateful. Thank you very much. This one's fine.
Any questions?
Oh, yes, any questions?
No, we don't always get presentations that make us feel quite that good. Thank you very much for sharing that.
Well, I'm very sincere. I wish I could have brought everyone, but, you know, we do need to pay the bills, so they have to work.
Yeah. And just give us a snapshot. What does Aegis Electric produce?
Sure. We design and manufacture electrical components for marine, emergency vehicle, RV type applications. They're circuit protection and battery management products. One of our core markets is the emergency vehicle market, and so we design time delay relays that do smart shutoffs of the various systems. If you think of a cop car, they have lights and computers and all kinds of things. So we help all of that work nicely together. For example, and boat equipment that do very similar things.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
thank you.
for taking a chance on us.
Thank you.
Well, we love hearing about this program, John, and its continued success in the community. It clearly does more than just jobs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and that's exciting to see. Glad to see it continues to expand too, and that you guys are keeping your eyes out for ways to bring in more of those funds here so we can keep those dollars circulating.
Exactly. And we do have money to lend, so if anybody else is interested, please come talk to us.
Okay.
Do I qualify for that?
I'm blown away, thank you. It's not our money. We just handed out, all I did was vote. So your praise was heaped on the wrong guy. But I do thank you for the presentation because it touched my heart.
Thank you. I actually, I adore the people we put to work, and they really deserve a lot of praise. They are courageous, and I just wanted you guys to know that you're a part of helping them rebuild their lives.
It's not often I'm speechless.
Really?
Doesn't happen much.
I just threw a softball at you guys.
John, thank you for what you do. A program doesn't work without a good leader.
Thank you,
And
Commissioner.
appreciate what you do.
Thank you very much.
Nice to see you in person.
And right?
I'm used to the little.
Exactly.
Welcome.
Thank
Okay.
you. All right.
All right. Very good. Well, Kevin, you've got, it's hard to have to come up after that.
Got some shoes to fill now.
Fortunately, we love Seafeast.
Top
and,
that one, Kevin.
Seafeast is not only great but delicious, and so you've got that going for you.
It is, but I mean,
The bar is here.
I know, but you know what? I love hearing community stories like that because that's what fulfills me when I see success and I see people that are in poverty and don't have much, and they're thriving. So thank you. I mean, that's what it's about.
Okay.
Anyways, I am going to present something with you. I am Kevin Coleman. I am the program director for Bellingham Seafeast, and let me tell you, I love my job. I absolutely love my job because we've got so many new programs and so many new things that we're looking forward to doing, but I'm also grateful for the port and all of you guys for your continued support year after year, and if it wasn't for you guys, we would not be having Seafeast. So that's the reality of it all. So Bellingham Seafeast.
Hey, Kevin,
Yes, ma'am.
you need to share the screen so people
How do I?
on Zoom.
Yep. Over to the right, share screen. There we go, got it. Share. Try to be savvy, but you know how it goes. Okay, so for Bellingham Seafeast, we are very, very grateful for this year. Last year, we had a fantastic year that consisted of over 9,000 attendees. I came on board in May 23rd of 2022 and had 3.5 months to put on a festival. And in that time, we raised a lot of money, but we also had over 63 vendors. We had the Black Hawk singers and dancers. We had over 900 pounds of traditional Lummi salmon prepared and sold to the community. We had over 16 food vendors, and we had nothing but positive results from that. So in this, unfortunately, there's a video here that does not want to link up, but there's a 1-minute video that you can find on our website at bellinghamseafeast.com that will give you a recap of the entire year, and we were very excited. Our theme last year was the Faces of Maritime, because I realized that there are more than just white grumpy old men on the waterfront, that there's a diversity of people, and that we really need to showcase those people and really see what they're all about and learn from them, because each one fishes differently, each one prepares their stuff differently, and it's really important for us to know about them and who they are in our community and what they do for us. So for this year, we have a new theme. It's called Seafeast from Sea to Me. It's the journey of our waterfront experience. It'll be on October 14th and 15th, 2023 in the Fisherman's Pavilion. This year we are setting up the Fisherman's Pavilion as an expo hall and having our central focus being around a longhouse with Lummi, Nooksack, and Semiahmoo representation. Because of this and me thinking about all these new things, and over these past almost year now, I've heard that what is one thing that you want to know more about, and that's how to prepare seafood. And we have our local dockside market that's first and third Saturday of every month, and I realized that we have an opportunity to really focus on what does the sea to me look like. And starting in January of 2023, we started with the entire idea of understanding your oceans and where your stuff comes from. Understanding who catches it and how it's caught, how your seafood is prepared, what are the seasons of your local seafood. We live in the Pacific Northwest. It's very different than in other regions, so it's understanding what's available at different times. How to locally get it, how to locally prepare it, and how to prepare it at its best. So I think that's another thing too that a lot of people don't realize, that seafood can be kind of easy. What is the nutritional value of eating, and the sustainability as well as conservation for the future. So with all that in mind, it got me to thinking back in December that we need to start showcasing our local waterfront more, because I really feel that it's undervalued. And we have so much opportunity to create a program which we started and has taken off in the past 2 months called KISS, Keep It Simple Seafood. Every third Saturday of Dockside, we do live demos from local chefs and local vendors from our Dockside Market to show them how to prepare a local seafood dish. With that in mind, you get a recipe and a video at the end of each month in our newsletter of that same recipe with that same chef. So it's combining the chefs to the waterfront, to our local community, to our local restaurants, and combining everybody together. That's the name of the game. So how to teach people easily how to do it, but simply so that other people want to get involved. We just had our our third dockside this last Saturday, and we had Samantha Ferraro from Little Ferraro Kitchen come and do a creamy polenta and seared scallop delish. It is now posted in the Cascadia News. We got a full feature news article that was out today, so I encourage you to read that and see what we're doing. And I'm encouraging people to learn more about what we're doing as well. So we're partnering with the Bellingham Dockside. The KISS Workshop, like I said, is the third Saturday of each month through May. After that, they do have to go outside, and so we have to look at how that's going to look as far as cooking demos. So we do have pop-ups around town all the way through October. And this is also to provide easy-to-make dishes from our local chefs and our local dockside vendors, kind of really just pairing it up.
Where do we find a list of where those pop-ups are going to be?
Oh, we have an event page on our website at bellinghamseafeast.com.
Was that the QR code that was just there?
Yeah.
Can you flash back to that real quick?
Sure.
I'm going to do it.
Kevin, you can shrink this down.
Oh,
Just hit that one upper left right there.
right there. Oh, yeah. That works. Cool.
So if they go to bellinghamseafeast.org, they'll find that QR code, and it'll give the list of where the pop-ups are?
Yep. It'll have the list of events. It'll have also our KISS program, where we already have 3 videos. There will be a 4th video at the end of this month in our newsletter, as well as a showcase from the article itself. And then we are pairing up with Bellingham Technical College with their aquafishery departments, and Bellingham Technical College culinary departments, as well as Bellingham Central Schools for the KISS program. So with this in mind, we are expanding our KISS program because now I have chefs reaching out to me that want to be part of it, which I'm very grateful for. So we now, in 2 months, have earned media from Cascade News Weekly, Northern Lights, Southside Living, Sustainable Connections, and Wacom Food Network. I have a feeling that this is going to go gangbusters, and more people are going to want to come on board. With this being said, this focus is back onto our festival back in October, where we will, why do you want to be part of Bellingham Sea Feast? This year, we strive to tell more untold stories and inspire our community during our weekend-long festival of October 14th and 15th. We want to bring more tribal stories and educations in our area of our rich First Nations culture, history, or heritage. And we want to elevate the voices of women in maritime trades, and we want to be more active to teach our children and adults how to conserve our precious water resources and help our local aquatic species thrive. All while enjoying and learning your local seafood, where it comes from, how to prepare it, the nutritional value it brings to our oceans, and we can build bridges and inspire each other by doing this. Sea Feast is now poised to bring in more than, I would say, 25,000 people this year. With a big impression on an audience to seek and actively engage with organizations and businesses locally to expand our community collaborations. We are the only waterfront Whatcom County festival. Keep that in mind. We have a lot that we owe our community, and we have a lot that we have to teach our community. And it is our expectation that we will do that. So I'm very excited about this opportunity for Sea Feast this year and the KISS program, and I look forward to having many more months of this program so we can showcase and expand who and what we are and build more tourism and thriving waterfront. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you very much, Kevin.
Yeah.
Commissioner Briscoe?
Yeah, you know, our prior sea feasts have been earlier in the season. And generally that's been because our waterfront's pretty busy. So the times you've picked here is right in the middle of last 2 years is what been the opening of the Dungeness crab season. And you're gonna have a problem on that waterfront with those people there at that time. So I'm just curious why you moved it back.
We moved it back because there's no hotel packages during the month of September. And if you want to bring tourists into the area during the Western, when they have Western move-in weekend, all around that month, there's not a lot of opportunities for tourism to come in. And so we moved it back to October, since October is National Seafood Month.
How do you propose to deal with the working waterfront, I guess is what I'm asking you.
Just like I have been. Yeah.
You didn't deal with them last year because the season opened almost two and a half weeks later than Sea Feast went off.
Correct. But I mean, I feel
We have a
that
busy waterfront.
we do have a busy waterfront, but I think that's more opportunity for people to come down and take a look and see what we're doing.
Okay, I guess I'm just warning you up front, there's gonna be a problem with the dates you chose, and you probably should have talked to the commercial fishing industry about what was gonna go on that waterfront at that time, because I've been there my entire life, and I know how it is when that goes off,
Yes, sir.
okay? I'm just trying to give you a little heads.
Oh, I appreciate, yeah,
I
absolutely.
don't want a mess.
Nor do I. Nor do I. I want to work with everybody, and I think we can all work together.
Okay.
And the problem's going to be that Gate 5 will be really, really busy, and Gate 5 is usually cordoned off during Sea Feast, so that's where there's going to be a bit of a rub.
Traffic, everybody's moving pots and forklifts are running and trucks, and that's why we had it prior to the season before.
Understand.
And I assumed that we were gonna stay within those parameters. It would've been nice to have discussed this before it came out.
Well, we did it in October 2 years ago. 2021 was October, and I don't remember there being a huge conflict, but it might have been,
Of October, and the season started a little bit later.
yeah, it was probably previous to the crab opening.
Just so you know, we've moved the Faces of Fishing. The white grumpy old men are now the commission. So changing that logo was a good thing because we're all up here.
Well, I appreciate you guys being up there. And Bobby, I appreciate your input as well.
No,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to make trouble for you.
Oh, no. I like,
I'm trying to avoid it.
absolutely, and I appreciate candidness and understanding where things are at, so that way we can mitigate things properly. So that's my name of the game. It's like, we all work together, we all work effectively. Let's find solutions to make it happen.
Quite frankly, we see a lot of conflict headed our way too with the working waterfront and what we're doing down there. But there's quite frankly nothing more exciting to me than watching people work, especially in this industry and other industries. So if we can figure out a way to make that marriage work, it's going to be quite the draw. I think you'll find
yes.
more people attracted to the activity than to the silence on the water.
So everybody here understands it's a race to get those traps in the water that day. It's a race.
And I think people would
not
appreciate
business.
seeing that.
It's a race.
We can turn it.
But I think people would appreciate seeing what's happening on the waterfront. There's things lacking, and the more that we can educate our community of what our local fisher folks are doing, I think the more opportunities we have to have a stronger waterfront.
Yeah, and in that regard, Kevin, when the fleet's tied up getting ready to go, it's a lot calmer, and people are a lot more willing to explain to somebody instead of run them over with a forklift.
Understand.
I mean, I'm just saying, it's, there's a time for everything, and who knows, maybe they'll start later, maybe they'll start earlier, I don't know, but last couple of years, that's been their starting date.
Okay.
And I do this just to see if Hogan smiles, but I can envision bleachers and like an award for the one who gets the most pots in.
Bet on
We
the
could-
boat, I get
we
it, bet
could
on
turn
the boat,
this-
how many pots can you get on the boat, and how fast can you get
we
them
could
in?
There you go,
Vegas.
and then we could get a sponsor for it, we're good.
We got Vegas bookies up here in no time.
What about weather? As we get later into October, the weather deteriorates. We've
That's-
had some
yes.
sea feasts which have been
Very windy.
wet and windy.
Yep.
And the ones that are sunny and warmer are magical.
Absolutely. And that's why we're turning the pavilion into an expo hall. So that way it's more enclosed. It's 9,000 square feet. We can fit 43 vendors inside of there. We've already done our measurement, and then we can expand the back side or the side closest to Gate 5 with a main stage covered and larger fencing to repel wind.
How many did you get last year through? Did you get 25,000 through there last year?
No, we got 9,000.
9,000.
9,000.
So we're going to double.
Yes. So 9,000 in 6 hours. Yeah, and our beer garden averaged $1,200 an hour. So people like it and they'll come, but I definitely want to make sure that everybody works effectively and efficiently together, so that way we can make it entertaining for our community, because people want to come and see what's happening, how things are done. That's one thing that's missing.
Okay. So will there be outdoor?
There will be some
Components?
outdoor, yes, there will be some outdoor experiences as well, which we are working on. The food court will be mainly outside as well, with a larger tent in the middle of it, and then we will be using the boathouse as well.
Okay. All right. And how is the sponsorship process going this year?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now that we have KISS under our belt, we have a lot of opportunities to go after larger type of sponsorship and hit different people in different markets for some of the things that we're working on. We're actively working with some larger corporations right now for some multiple sponsorship opportunities.
Okay. I see the Barleans grandstands.
Oh, hey,
I'm there.
bring it. Yeah, you bet. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you.
Okay, well, we have no action items, so that we're going to move to end of meeting public comment and see if there's anybody here in the audience that wishes to provide public comment. Anyone on Zoom? If you're on Zoom, you can just raise your hand or make yourself known.
For little woman,
Oh.
I have a big voice. So
All right, we've got somebody.
I
All right.
wanted to say thank you to this woman.
Oh.
I'm one of those.
Well, please come up to the mic and introduce yourself. It is, looks like it is too
Way
high.
high.
Yeah. Dawn's going to help you here.
There we go. Thank you very much. My name is Molly Haston, and I live in Anacortes now, raised in Alaska. And I'm one of the women she was talking about that came from a very bad home as a child, grew up, fought my way, and had a lot of problems through my life. And we need more like her. And I just want to give her a thank you.
That's not why I came here.
Thank you, Molly.
I wanted to focus on my weight, so this guy's.
Well, thank you very much for sharing. It's great to see.
And I would very much enjoy volunteering my time in just to help others.
Okay, well, thank you very much for sharing. It looks like we don't have any additional public comments, so we're going to move into the last part of our meeting, which is other business. I'm going to see if Commissioner Bell has any other business first.
Yeah, Joe, if you don't mind, can you let us know where the boat is and what's going on with,
Where's it at, Joe?
where is the boat that's supposed to be loading steel? No, you're a better,
Joe Schmidt,
he insulted me earlier today, I can't.
830 East Douglas, Bellingham. Anyway, the ship is up in Vancouver right now unloading. I looked at it on Ship Finder today, and I just heard that it's going to start on the 25th. I think.
So it'll be here on
Around there.
Friday.
It was supposed to be the 23rd, and then they're saying the 25th, but that's a Saturday, I believe, so I don't know if they'll start on a weekend or wait till Monday. That's all I know.
That's what I wanted to hear, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll be ready.
And then my last one is just a discussion. I'm just seeing, I'm the EDI appointee for the port from this group. Thank you very much for that. But I'm just noticing that the EDI fund is becoming more of a road fund, where EDI funds are being spent on road improvements and that kind of infrastructure where cities have got essentially a road fund in their budgets, right? And I'm not so sure that that's what the EDI fund was established for. And I understand that there's a need for housing and it's our #1 priority, but I'm just hoping we don't get pigeonholed into that, and I'm not sure what I'm doing. I'm just describing the meetings that I've had the last week. Every time I get a call about EDI, it's about somebody who wants help building a road. And it's not somebody calling to help cite a business, or it's not somebody helping that wants to use the EDI fund for a purpose for which I think it was designed to do. It's more of an infrastructure type fund at the moment. And it's just got me concerned about that. And I have my opinion about it, but I kind of wanted to bounce it around the commission because we don't often get time to talk amongst ourselves. And I don't want to be a lone wolf out there. But like I said, I've had a number of meetings in the last 3 weeks, and every single one of them has been about how do we use EDI funds to build a road, to open up my development, or to build some low-income housing, or to build housing. And it seems to be driving the housing market, and I understand we need it, but again, it's the EDI fund and it's not a road fund. So that's my opinion, but I wanted to hear what you guys thought about it, because I do represent the commission. I don't just represent Ken when I go to speak. So, gentlemen, I ask for your opinion.
Well, I've always thought we should, and we meaning our economic development office, should be really leading the way on the EDI fund. I've always thought we should have a multi-year proposal of a schedule of where we're planning to make asks, and we should be driving the use of that fund, because that is our role in the county, and we have the people who have expertise and ability to, I think, guide that fund in the most effective way possible. And so I've always wanted us to take that role. I don't know if, I don't know where these other projects are coming from, but I think our office is the best one to coordinate how the fund is being prioritized for larger investment opportunities to expand, retain, and acquire new businesses to the community.
And thanks for that. We have a meeting later this week to discuss some of this. The county council makes these decisions. Ultimately, there is a committee that makes recommendations to the council, and they usually buy into what the committee recommends. But if we're going to want to change this, I think we're going to have to address it at the county council level, and we're going to need your help on that. Commissioner Bell, I don't know if you know this, but there's I think it's 40% comes right off the top into infrastructure for the county. So the EDI is a sales tax rebate from the state. It comes in, 100% comes into the county, and then is it 40%? 30% then goes right to the county to do their own infrastructure. So only 70% is being used for other projects outside of that. So if some of that 70% is now being used for infrastructure as well, I can see that being problematic.
So I'll give you my theory on it, because I sat in your shoes when I first became a commissioner, and Rob was there with me
1961.
the day that I questioned what our county executive was doing. The port's got a pretty straightforward mandate. One in that mandate, within it, if you want to dig around, is we're supposed to be creating jobs. And the way I read what we're supposed to be doing with that EDI money is that in general. It's it's not short-term jobs building roads. It's long-term jobs that stay here that help the economy of our county. And that's what to me, that's what that is about. And, we got the same push when this particular project was going on, as all these jobs it created. I got the same push when I was running for office of what the coal thing was going to do at Cherry Point. It doesn't create long-standing jobs. Creating short-term jobs is not a solution to a good economy. You come, you get the money, you leave. So my opinion is that if we're already putting 30%, as our executive director said, and Dawn spoke to, if we're already putting that in, there shouldn't be any more going to infrastructure and roads. It should be going to creating jobs, helping businesses grow to a certain aspect, help that business grow to create more jobs, which creates a bigger tax base for the whole, the whole works. It's the trickle-down effect of where that money's supposed to go. It trickles into the ditch if you're building roads with it and doesn't get anybody anything. So I'm not in favor of building roads with our EI funds. That's not what that's not what it's supposed to do to me.
And one of the other things that struck me was that we're building a lot of apartments, and we don't build generational wealth by building apartments for people to rent. Generational wealth is built when you buy low-income condos, and people can afford to buy something that builds equity over time. And the strategy to put roads in so you can have low-income apartment buildings, I understand the need, but if we're really going to help people build generational wealth, it's going to be through investing in something that brings equity back to their household. And so, I don't know where this policy goes. It needs a change at the state, because the state clearly has got litigious, it's such a litigious industry that people aren't going to build condos. But it's a conundrum. But just to build roads, just to build more apartments, didn't seem to me to be a good use of those funds, because we're not helping anybody build wealth, except for the guy building, the developer building the project. And he's
It's
just,
not a developer investment fund.
it's not, correct.
So
We're not
just
here to make-
remind them, it's not a developer investment fund. We're not here just to invest in these developers to be more successful.
And the last time we did this, I got some pushback, and it was because there was a road going up in Linden that needed to go to a development. But the pushback was, well, we built you a road at the port, but what that road was for All-American Marine. And it built All-American Marine, that building, which created jobs, right? Long-term jobs, and you've seen the growth of that industry. So that had a direct link to job creation, right? And not just a bunch of apartments. And so if I could pass on your comments, I'm going to do so. I just wanted to make sure that I was not speaking for myself only.
I'm in 100% agreement with you. We need to be creating jobs with that money, that portion of the money that it's supposed to be used for. That's what we're supposed to be doing. We need to do that.
And if it's a liability issue, and again, I'd much rather see somebody build a condo that you could afford to buy.
Or a home.
Or a small home.
Yeah,
So that people can build equity into their, and real generational wealth, and not just apartments.
So it's interesting to me that you speak to this, because everything that we've built, we've had to put a road to, we've had to pay for it, or a sidewalk, and every time one of our tenants, like over here at Tom Aliotti, he wants to work on his building, the city makes him, put the road in, put the parking in, put the sidewalk in, put the trees in. So how come it is that the county thinks that the EDI money ought to be used to do that instead of the developer putting the road into his development and the sidewalks and the trees? Well, I mean, where's the disconnect there in that thought process?
I will ask that question, and I will report back.
Great, thank you.
Again, I've had a week full of people asking me, so I'm reporting that back.
Commissioner Bell, I'm on board with you.
I will ask. And I,
Uh-oh.
Elliot, are you going to weigh in on this topic, or did you just want to say hi?
You okay?
All right, well, we'll move on.
All right, I've just got one more thing. Sunil, thanks for the good numbers at the airport. I think you're doing a fantastic job, and you're taking some incoming shots, but love the job you do out there, and the people that you have working for you, I repeat, are just phenomenal. So thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Briscoe?
I was kind of wondering if we should discuss this Field Airport thing a little bit here instead of the question and answer period. Do you think that it's prudent to just throw out some facts here that
You certainly can, or you can let staff be a little more prepared for it. There's some legislation in Olympia that's working its way through. I think there's a lot of conversations at the FAA right now. So I think before we have that discussion, or you have it up here, I'd want to make sure we're current with the FAA's line of thinking right now.
Well, that was kind of what I wanted to talk, not really, yeah, we're going to do this or that. It was more of a discussion of what's out there. I mean, Michael knows some stuff that's out there, you know some stuff that's out there. I know about the wind that blows here. There's a lot of new things going on. I know that there's some new fuels out. I know some have been approved by the FAA, but I also know that, some of these engines in these airplanes can't run on that fuel. And, when I have a gentleman speaking in front of me that's telling me that, we have one airline that apparently is the culprit, so to speak, as he says. I'm not gonna shut down an airline if they can't run on that fuel just because they have to, if they have to burn that fuel and the FAA says they have to burn that fuel, well, then they have to burn that fuel. So it's not like we're saying, okay, no, we're not gonna have unleaded fuel at our airport. What we're saying is we have to blend this somehow so that our tenants, and I don't know if the gentleman understands this, those people are making a living, and if the FAA says you have to do this, the Port of Bellingham cannot say, no, you don't.
Yeah,
That's the kind of discussion was, that.
And my piece is, it seems like for our job, I think we have a job to communicate and educate our general aviation community about the writing that's on the wall. It seems like we're going to see changes at the state level. We're probably going to see changes at the federal level around leaded fuel. It's not going to be around forever in the same capacity it is today, is what it feels like to me. So is there a job for us to be communicating, educating, charting that pathway for our GA tenants to understand the other options and to be able to participate in being ready for the fuels of the future?
I think there is. I think that's what we need to be doing. So I'd ask you to just give us a little time to work on this from a staff perspective, and we'll figure out what we need to do to educate the GA community, make sure we're up to speed with what the FA current is. This conversation is being had all over the country right now. Yeah. It's a hot item. It's a hot item in Olympia, and it's a hot item in DC. So let us get up to speed on it, figure out how we can educate the general aviation community, what's true and what's not true, and we'll come back to you at the next meeting.
And I thought we just need to talk about it a little bit so that Mr. Weber understands that we're not ignoring what he's speaking to, because I think he feels that way. And I don't think any of us, and certainly Sunil knows more about it than the rest of us, what's going on, but I don't think anyone is ignoring anything here. It's just, the wheels of government turn about that slow. So it's coming. We all know it. We all dealt with it. Well, it was already here when you were driving, but I dealt with the changeover, like you said. So, it's coming, and it's a change. I accept that it's going to change, but it's how do you change it, and how do you stop it from hurting people that are in business the most while they're getting through that change?
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. Well, we'll look for more on that to come.
That's all.
That's all?
Yeah, that's all I have.
Okay, I just have a couple. I want to congratulate our real estate team on closing on the Marine Drive property. Commissioner Briscoe's been advocating for us to increase our property at the port for a while, and we were able to do that on Marine Drive. Excited to see the future of that property and put it to good work, good use in the community.
Who found that property?
Yeah, so Commissioner Shepard pointed that property out to us, that it was available. And then, but the real credit actually goes to Judy. Judy did the heavy lifting on this one. She put the deal together, she negotiated it, and got the paperwork all pushed through. So nice job, Judy.
Good work.
So, Commissioner Shepard, you might add a little spiel about the property. The money was traded from another property that we got.
Yeah, so part of our intention is to retain property, public ownership of property. As a port agency, over this past year, we've been looking at selling a property in Sumas. Did we haven't quite, I can't remember.
We've sold that. Yep.
We did. Yep. So we sold a piece of property in Sumas, and we used some of those funds to reinvest to purchase this property on Marine Drive. It's a manufacturing building. It's really geared for manufacturing. And when I saw it, I thought, I really want to make sure that we keep this as a light industrial space, not just something that gets snatched up for more apartments. So I'm looking forward to us putting it to work and getting some tenants in there who are going to make use of it.
So the property in Sumas, if you might enlighten us a little bit, when we bought that, it had some buildings on it.
Yeah, we bought it. We built some buildings on it. The tenants that were renting those buildings and the land from us were doing very well and decided they wanted to own the land and the buildings, and so we sold it to them, and they're making a go of it.
And so then that's what part of the mandate of the ports all over the state, not just here, but all over the state, is to do, is to get a piece of property with something on it, build it up, and have your tenants come in and get their business going and nurture it, and we help them get that going, and once they're successful, they're buying this one out, so we're buying another piece of property that's just sitting idle, and we're going to see if we can't help them do the same thing.
Nice job, team, getting that one done. My other ones are, I want to thank Senator Shoemake for getting her first bill passed around derelict vessels. I'm glad to see that making its way through, and hopefully it will help address a persistent problem that we've been experiencing here. So I want to thank Senator Shoemake for taking that up, and an issue that is important to ports around the state.
Thank you, Senator Shoemake. We needed that.
Yeah. And can we actually take this moment to thank all of our delegation from the 40th and 42nd? Commissioner Bell and I went down there, and we had a phenomenal trip with them. It was
hands down the best meeting with the legislature I've had. And let's throw Representative Rule in there as well, because she got a policing bill through. It's not been voted on as of yet, but she's certainly working that. So she listened, and I will tell you what a great delegation we have this year.
Well, Being the legislative session is a grueling experience for everybody. So thanks to all of our legislators who are working there and for all their families that are sharing them with Olympia and all that commuting back and forth. Thank you for doing that work on behalf of us.
Here, here.
And last, I just wanted to note that I got to meet with Northline Seafood, and I was quite impressed with them. And I know they're going to be building a significant project here in Fairhaven, taking a old barge and turning it into a fish processing facility. They've gotten some money from the federal government in terms of a loan. This is going to be a multi-million-dollar project that's coming to our waterfront. They're hiring people to work on this project for over a year and a half for the first one, and hopefully we'll see them work on an additional vessel as well. I understand they're looking for a permanent home for that vessel in the off-season when it's not in Alaska. And I just wanted to make sure that we are considering space that we may have. I know we don't have a ton of space for large vessels, but it does seem like a good opportunity for the community. I can only imagine when these vessels call a port home, it creates a lot of revenue for the local community to service these vessels, to provide all the supplies and resources that they need.
Yeah, I think probably the best opportunity is the dock that they're going to be on in Fairhaven, but we'll take a look around and see what else we have.
Okay.
Just so Rob knows, just so you gentlemen know, Mr. Blakey's company contacted me on, I don't know, a week ago, and I'm meeting with Ben on the 27th. That's Monday, the 27th, I think. He called me up and wanted to have lunch. So.
Good. Well, I was very impressed with their operation and what they're planning to do. So look forward to you guys.
His father did the same thing out here. I knew that. I mean, it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Same thing, only in a smaller scale.
Okay. All right. Well, that's all for my list. Anybody else? Rob, any announcements for you?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. Hearing nothing else, we are done.
Do you want to have a comment period? Oh, comment period.
I did it.
That was only one gavel.
I already did it.
Yeah, you did.
I did it.